the Italian Football Podcast.
Next questions are about Theo Hernandez and his hair. We can start with the first one, and this is all your fault, by the way, because you started it. Lazio T says, "Hey guys, currently listening to you chatting about Theo's haircut, and it got me thinking, what are your favourites? And on the flip side, worst haircut seen in Italian football? Was Baggio's mullet cool, or would Carlo put in the same category as Theo's?" So this wasn't a mullet; it was a ponytail.
Ponytail, yeah.
Yeah. How do you rate Nainggolan and Vidal as compared to someone like Palacio? Well, that was a rat thing, Palacio, like the rat tail, and the mohawks that Vidal and Nainggolan had kind of represented who they are as people as well. And while we're on the subject, would Carlo accept a Conference League title, but with the exception that the whole starting 11 play with pink hair?
Well, you show me a team that wins anything with 11 pink-haired players. Okay, this shouldn't be, the onus shouldn't be on me. It should be on the other end. It should be on the other side.
But yeah, worst haircuts in football. I mean, I think David Beckham had some horrible ones.
You think so?
Yeah, there were some that were horrible. Some of them were really good.
The mohawk, I didn't like the Beckham mohawk. Well, that was a bit.
Yeah,
that was a bit 1980s Paul Weller kind of.
Yeah,
mullety.
I like 1980 Paul Weller, but it just didn't look good. I think he usually had some great ones, but some were also a bit.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go Beckham. That wouldn't be the first thing I think of as Beckham. But
Christian Ziege and Ronaldo. Like in the
Ronaldo 2002 was pretty bad, wasn't it? The little bit at the front.
Yeah.
Palacios was terrible. That like no hair, and then you just got like this little rat tail at the back. I mean that's just horrible. And I'll tell you who else: Cambiasso and Gabriel Paletta, when they both had no hair, and they were just like hanging on to that little strand, basically, like.
Yeah, Cambiasso when he started shaving was smart. Like someone told him, "Mate, just shave it."
Don't hang on to that little strand.
Yeah,
like...
it was horrible. Yeah, Antonio Conte had that towards the end of his playing days as well. It was like this is getting stupid.
Until he had the great Florentine Renaissance where it all came back.
Shave it off. Yeah, well, he went to Canada, didn't he? So Nick Costa says, is Theo Hernandez the dirtiest player right now in Europe's top 5 leagues? Because what he did to Marusic and Lazio game was disgusting, and he keeps doing these gross douchey things. I don't know if he's the dirtiest player, but he is becoming like one of those guys that you hate, like opponents hate, but your own team loves kind of thing, like Materazzi was to Inter fans.
I don't think he is. I think Materazzi definitely fits that category. I don't think Theo Hernandez does.
I think he does. You talk to anyone who isn't a Milan fan and they basically despise him.
Yeah, they despise him, but I don't think he's the kind that would... I agree there. He's not liked by anybody, but I don't think he's one that you love to have him in your team. I don't think he has any positivity at all. He's not a team player at all. Materazzi, these players, they absolutely would die for their shirt, for their club, for their team, for their teammates. Theo Hernandez definitely does not fit that category.
No, but he's got fantastic traits going forward.
He's got absolute fantastic footballing ability, but he's not. But that side of the game, the kind of mental, kind of being a team player, doing everything for your teammates, dying, being the first man on the front line for your team. He definitely isn't one of those. So, he's not a Materazzi or a Roy Keane or one of these kind of guys at all. But is he the dirtiest player? That's a different thing. I know what you mean. I don't know whether he's the dirtiest, but he is a bit of He does indulge in a bit of shithousery, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
But off the ball, like little things, like
Marty Glenn says, "Ciao ragazzi, I've missed the last 4 Juve matches due to life events and work schedule, and it seems to be working well so far. Yes, I'm the type that superstitious person with just enough delusion to think anything I do might have some kind of supernatural effect on the team. Juve Empoli is about to kick off, and I will continue not to watch it in the hope that the pattern continues." That didn't go well.
That didn't work.
Yeah. Vicious pseudo boycott watching Juve games. I'd like to offer my take on the Theo hair situation. The conversation gives Prem face vibes and remind me of the commentary in the English media every week when Pogba was at United. They focused more time on his various hairstyles than his actual play. However, I think he was in a similar situation to Theo. The negative state of play, to include their respective teams and clubs as a whole, overshadowed any positive talking points. As such, the moment of the discourse becomes highly negative, and it's easy to continue to pile on negative storylines and include something as trivial as hair color as a legitimate criticism. After all, when your team is in a state of crisis, you would expect your senators to laugh lock in, as the kids say these days. Colouring your hair pink just doesn't give the perception of focus and determination when your play is already in question. Let's consider for a moment a player with far worse hair, but whose narratives never really translate into questions about his abilities overall game. I'm talking, of course, about Dennis Rodman. That man spent half his time on his hair products, piercings, and Las Vegas hotel rooms. However, every time he stepped on the court, he was a man possessed. He set the tone for his team with grit, determination, and toughness, and he was always recognized for that, with the extracurricular being the secondary talking point. If you watch the Last Dance documentary about the Chicago Bulls, you'll understand that Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Phil Jackson had an understanding when it came to Rodman. He's going to disappear after game and practices, show up with a new hairstyle, get dragged out of a ditch drunk, but he was always there on the court. The expectation was different as well. He was not the face of the team, he's not the captain. He enjoyed superstar status, but they knew he couldn't actually lead the team. The shenanigans were not compatible with leadership. That's where I think the Theo criticism is fair. He's the leader of this team, and he needs to lock in and act accordingly. Much like the average father has to mature and give up the pub days with the lads to focus on the kids. When it comes to athletes with bad hair, Theo Hernandez is no Dennis Rodman. He's at best Chris Waddle. Chris Waddle.
He's not Chris Waddle. Chris Waddle was a fantastic player.
Yeah. That's enough of my old man yells at Cloud rant. For the obligatory question, what are your favorite hairstyles you've ever seen an athlete rock? Favorite hairstyles?
Favorite hairstyles ever?
I don't know. I can tell you. I speaking of ugly.
I mean, Italy around the late 90s, early 2000s, like they all had
Giuseppe Giannini, Del Piero.
All of that, and that like late,
Totti,
that
Maldini,
late 90s, early
Nesta,
Nesta Cannavaro, when they all had long hair. Maldini, Buffon had the long hair for a while. They were like
elegant.
They were just like a team of models.
Elegant. Very elegant. Yeah, I like the.
I also see the correlation between a good-looking Italian national team compared to like how nowadays, like we don't have the best-looking Italian national team, and whether there's an actual link between us.
They won the Euros less than 3 years. Like, what are you talking?
A link between the golden age of the Italy national team compared to the dark days of the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Euros
victory aside, whether there's a correlation between how they look and how they play.
I think that's just because
I would say the 90s though. That was a golden age.
Yeah, I agree. The late 90s in particular was just unbelievable for hairstyles. The Italians.
Battistuta had a fantastic hairstyle.
I agree.
When he I think he dyed it a little bit, which is a bit. Yeah,
highlighted
which was he highlighted it, which was a bit prima donna. I mean, it's not something. Yeah, it's not my
thing.
But
he was Battistuta. He could get away with that.
He looked like a lion. Like it was like a lion's mane of hair, and it was kind of like George Michael at his peak in the 80s kind of hairstyle. And that was spectacular. That was just as he was declining, by the way. Actually, he had that hairstyle. Yeah. I think it was like his second season at Roma. I think it was that. I think it was around about then.
Yeah, agreed. Calculator FC says, first of all, Theo scored a coast-to-coast versus Lazio rocking pink hair. Just saying. The problem at Milan is that Cardinale and his friends lack dignity and class and football knowledge. Cardinale isn't even that big of a deal in finance world anyway. Still can't believe he's trying to run Milan like a lower mid-table French club. These imbeciles managed to make me feel apathetic towards the club. Even the mighty Kevin Constant couldn't do that. Anyway, is Joao Felix one of the biggest football scams of the modern era? I hate football comparisons, but how the hell was this guy compared to Kaká? He's got more yellow cards than assists in his career. Love the podcast as always. It's an interesting one, that was Joao Felix.
Kaká, Ronaldinho. I mean,
I've seen quite a few.
I see people comparing him to all kinds, and I'm just thinking, like, have you ever, like, seriously? This guy's been the same at every single team he's joined since leaving Portugal. He starts well with like a great game on his debut, and then completely falls away, and it's just like, well,
Portuguese Correa is what I'd call him then. Joaquin Correa, like, completely useless in terms of being concrete in creating chances. Higher level quality than Correa, because Correa does everything in slow motion, but and is just generally dreadful. But technically very good, but that's why he should be a futsal player. But yeah, I think Portuguese Correa.
Yeah, futsal player, absolutely. But then in futsal, you need to be able to shoot. as well.
Yeah, well, Correa's got a decent shot on him actually. In like he's not a thunderbolt, but he can actually.
Yeah, but I mean, as in, you've got to be able to finish, you've got to be able to shoot, you've got to be able to. I mean, Felix, yeah, but I still enjoy. I'm not going to be lie. I'll be honest. I do actually enjoy watching Joao Felix play.
Yeah,
even though I know there's going to be there's never going to be any end product, or he's never.
But that's what I'm saying.
Correa and him
should play.
Yeah.
Should be futsal
They
players.
should be
superstars.
players. Yeah. But I do enjoy watching him. I even enjoyed watching him the other night against Lazio, who did some lovely things, but nothing ever come of it. But he's like, you just don't get players like that are like that are kind of individuals and do like individual bits of skill and magic, and you just don't get those players anymore. So it's nice to see him, to watch him. But yeah,
I'm with you on that.